Her name was Lauren. We met at a friend's housewarming party 2 years ago. She was confident, magnetic, the kind of person everyone noticed when she walked into a room. I was quieter, more analytical, the guy who observed before speaking. Somehow, our differences fit together like puzzle pieces. The first year was easy. Weekend trips, late-night takeout, inside jokes only we understood. She loved seafood and hated slow walkers. I loved her ability to make any place feel alive. We moved in together after 14 months. A modern apartment downtown, 2 bedrooms, 1 future. At least that's what I thought. For a while, everything seemed perfect. She was driven in her career, always chasing goals. I admired that ambition. Then small cracks began to form. Missed dinners. Late nights at the office. Vague excuses that didn't sound quite right. She said she was working on big client deals. I believed her at first. But her tone changed when she talked about work. Less frustration, more excitement. And one name kept slipping into every story, Evan. At first, he was just her regional manager. Then her mentor. Then her close friend who really gets her. Every time I heard his name, something inside me tightened. I didn't want to be paranoid, but my instincts screamed that something was off. I noticed her texting late at night, smiling at her phone in that private way people do when they think no one's watching. When I asked, she said it was work stuff. I wanted to believe her, so I did. But the inconsistencies started piling up. A Tuesday business dinner that somehow didn't appear on her company calendar. A new perfume she never wore around me. Hotel receipts she claimed were for client events. It didn't add up. I deal with numbers and patterns for a living. When something doesn't fit, I find out why. That's my job. And now it became my mission. I began noticing smaller things. Her phone always faced down on the table. She changed her passcode. She started locking the bathroom door while texting. The warmth between us turned mechanical. Conversations became short, rehearsed. When I kissed her, she kissed back, but her mind was somewhere else. I'd lost her already. She just hadn't told me yet. One night, she came home late smelling like hotel soap. She said she'd gone to the gym. I nodded, pretending not to notice the tremor in her voice. That's when I knew. Not suspected, knew. Something inside me went cold. I didn't yell. Didn't accuse. I simply started watching. And in that quiet observation, something in me changed. I stopped being her boyfriend. I became an investigator. Every look, every absence, every unexplained smile became data. Proof waiting to be organized. While she thought she was getting away with it, I was building a file. A calm, silent archive of betrayal. And one day soon, I'd make sure she saw every single page. The confirmation came on a random Tuesday. She'd left for work early, claiming a late client dinner that night. Something about her voice felt rehearsed. When she walked out, I opened my laptop and checked our shared calendar. No dinner listed. Just another blank evening. Curiosity turned into certainty. I logged into our shared credit card account. There it was. A charge at Lakeside Inn, 40 miles outside the city. Room service for 2, same place, same night, 6 weeks in a row. Every Tuesday. She didn't travel on Tuesdays. She didn't even own a client in that area. That hotel wasn't business, it was personal. I stared at the screen for a long time. No anger. Just a quiet, clinical clarity. I took screenshots, saved the statements, and labeled the folder L. Then I checked her location on Find My Friends. She insisted we share it for safety when we moved in together. Her little blue dot was right there, Lakeside Inn. Every single week. Always the same hours. Consistency is a strange kind of honesty. It reveals what people try to hide. I didn't confront her. Most people do. and that's where they lose control. They explode. They get emotional. And the cheater gets the power back. I wasn't giving her that. I gathered evidence. Screenshots. Timestamps. Patterns. Everything she thought she'd hidden. I checked her Instagram. Her main profile was clean, curated, safe. But one night, she left her phone unlocked. I saw a second account, private, unknown to me. A little searching, a few guesses later, and there it was. Pictures at the hotel bar. Her and Evan. Wine glasses, dim lights, the same ugly carpet I'd seen in the hotel photos. No kissing, nothing explicit, but it didn't have to be. The story wrote itself. She was cheating. And she thought she was clever. I spent the next 3 weeks collecting data like it was a work project. Every Tuesday, I tracked her. Screenshotted her location. Cross-checked credit card charges. I even created a timeline of her late nights. Each one aligned perfectly with Evan's business trips. By the end of the 3rd week, I had more proof than I'd ever need. That's when I started thinking about the end game. Not revenge. Just closure. Clean, quiet, and irreversible. I contacted our landlord. Asked what would happen if one tenant needed to remove the other. He said as long as my name was primary, I had the right. 30 days notice. That was all. Perfect. I made copies of every lease document. Every receipt. I wasn't just ending a relationship. I was building a case. A file so airtight she couldn't twist it into a misunderstanding. No yelling. No arguments. Just facts. And facts don't lie. When the time came, she'd see exactly what I saw. Every Tuesday night, every secret, every receipt. And she'd finally understand that I'd been watching the whole time. Silently. Patiently. Waiting for her to hand me the final piece of proof herself. Once I had the proof, the anger turned into precision. Emotion became strategy. I started planning the exit the same way I'd plan a property audit. Step by step. No room for chaos. First, I called my landlord. Explained the situation without mentioning the affair. Just said the relationship was ending and I needed to know my options. He told me since my name was the primary tenant, I could issue notice. 30 days for her to move out. No court, no drama. Perfect. Next, I reviewed everything in the apartment. Furniture, electronics, kitchen gear, even the artwork. Anything I owned before she moved in was mine. Shared items went into a spreadsheet. Receipts attached, photos labeled. I wasn't going to argue over a couch later. Then came the finances. All utilities, Wi-Fi and parking were in my name. I changed passwords, secured my accounts, removed her from autopay. Slow, quiet preparation. Every move designed to protect myself before the storm. I backed up the evidence to cloud storage. 2 copies, 2 locations. One under a different name, just in case. By then, I had the entire story documented. Every lie mapped to a date, time, and place. But I didn't just want a breakup. I wanted clarity. A single moment that made everything undeniable. Something she couldn't twist into her version of the truth. That's when the idea hit me. Dinner. Not just any dinner. Her favorite restaurant, Fior's, the one she'd been begging to visit. A public setting. Crowded, expensive, impossible to cause a scene without witnesses. I agreed when she brought it up again. Said it would be nice to reconnect. She smiled, thinking she was in control. Meanwhile, I called my best friend Alex. Told him everything. He'd never liked her. He called her performative, said she only did things when someone was watching. Now he knew why. He didn't hesitate. "What do you need?" he asked. I needed a variable, someone unexpected. That's when he mentioned his cousin, Samantha. Single, confident, quick-witted. He said we'd probably get along. When I told her the plan, she laughed. "This is either going to be genius or a total disaster," she said. "I can live with both." We met 2 days before the dinner. Just coffee, nothing more. But there was instant chemistry. She understood exactly what I wanted to do. Not out of spite. Out of closure. The plan was simple. She'd book a table near ours, alone, within clear view. We'd exchange a small wave early in the night. Nothing dramatic, just enough to be noticed. Then I'd wait for Lauren to start her speech. The one about wanting to explore. When she did, I'd end it right there. Not with shouting, but with precision. The kind of calm that makes the truth sting harder. Every detail rehearsed. Every line ready. By Saturday, everything was set. One dinner reservation, one witness, one final act of quiet revenge disguised as self-respect. And I couldn't wait to watch her script fall apart. Saturday came faster than I expected. I woke up calm, steady, like a man heading into a business meeting. Lauren was in a bright mood. She spent hours getting ready, curling her hair, humming while she did her makeup. She looked beautiful, and that almost hurt more than anything. We took an Uber downtown. She reached for my hand. I let her hold it. Sometimes silence hurts louder than words. Fior was packed when we arrived. Warm light, soft music, the clinking of wine glasses. The hostess led us to a table near the window. Exactly as planned. 3 tables away, Samantha sat alone, reading her phone, a glass of red wine untouched. I caught her eye. She smiled, subtle, professional. I gave a small wave. Lauren noticed. "Who's that?" she asked, tilting her head. "A friend from work," I said easily. She nodded, but her curiosity lingered. The first 20 minutes were light. Wine, appetizers, meaningless small talk about vacations and promotions. I could almost pretend nothing was broken. But then her tone shifted. She set her fork down, folded her napkin, and looked at me seriously. "I've been thinking a lot about us," she began. "Here it comes." She talked about how we'd grown together, how we were stable, comfortable. Then she dropped the real line. "I think we should see other people. Just to explore ourselves more, Find who we are individually." I didn't move. Didn't blink. Just stared at her. "You want an open relationship," I said flatly. She smiled nervously. "It doesn't have to be like that. It's just freedom, boundaries, communication." "Evan," I said. Her face lost color. "That's not," she started, but I cut her off. "Every Tuesday night, Lakeside Inn, 6 weeks straight, same room, same card, same lies." She froze, eyes wide. People at nearby tables were beginning to notice. "You've been spying on me," she hissed. "You've been lying to me," I replied calmly. Big difference. She tried to collect herself, shifting from guilt to anger. "You're being paranoid," she snapped. "Really?" I leaned back. Then explained the private Instagram, the hotel bar photos, the location data. Tears filled her eyes. "Please, I'm sorry," she whispered. "I made a mistake." 6 mistakes, I corrected. One every Tuesday. Her voice cracked. "We can fix this. I'll end it with him." "No," I said softly. "You already did, tonight." Then I looked toward Samantha's table and lifted my hand again. She stood up and walked toward us, poised and calm. Lauren turned, confusion twisting into dread. "What are you doing?" she asked. "You said we should see other people," I replied. "Way ahead of you." Samantha stopped beside me. "Ready?" she asked with a polite smile. "Yeah," I said, standing. Lauren's mouth fell open. "You can't be serious," she whispered. "Oh, I am." I laid $60 on the table. "Drinks and appetizers are covered. The rest is yours." Then I turned and walked out with Samantha. Behind us, Lauren's voice cracked, echoing through the restaurant. Every head turned toward her. No one looked away. And for the first time in weeks, I felt free. When we stepped outside, the cold air hit like clarity. My hands were shaking, not from fear but release. Samantha glanced at me. "You okay?" she asked softly. "Yeah," I said, "just done pretending." We walked 2 blocks to a quiet bar Alex had suggested. He was already there, waiting in a corner booth. The moment he saw us, he grinned. "So, how did the grand finale go?" "Perfectly," I said. She tried to pitch it as self-discovery, and I gave her the reality check she earned. Samantha laughed under her breath. "It was like watching a courtroom scene. You didn't even raise your voice." "That was the point," I said. "Calm makes people nervous." My phone buzzed nonstop on the table. 17 missed calls, 12 messages, all from Lauren. Apologies, anger, pleading. The full emotional rotation of guilt. I switched the phone to silent and slid it face down. "She's going to spin this," Alex warned. "Let her try," I said. "I've got the receipts." We toasted to clean exits. For the first time in months, my chest didn't feel heavy. That night, I went back to the apartment. It was silent, almost too quiet. Her perfume still lingered in the hallway. I packed a small bag of her essentials. Clothes, toothbrush, phone charger. Left it by the door with a printed 30-day notice. The words were clinical, almost cold. But they were necessary. At midnight, I heard her key in the lock. She froze when she saw the bag and the paper on the counter. Then footsteps down the hall. "Can we talk?" she whispered from the doorway. "No," I said, not looking at her. "You can sleep on the couch." Her voice cracked. "You're really doing this?" "Yes." She stood there for a long time before saying, "I did love you." "No," I said. "You loved the version of me that didn't know." The door closed softly behind her. I lay awake, listening to her cry in the living room. Morning came fast. She was asleep on the couch, mascara streaked, dress wrinkled. I made coffee, packed for work, and called a locksmith. By noon, the locks were changed. One key, mine. When she texted later, I told her she could pick up her bag between 6 and 8. She called instead. 15 times. Then a new number appeared, Evan. I answered. "This is really inappropriate," he started. "You mean like sleeping with someone else's girlfriend?" I asked. "She's been through a lot," he said defensively. "So have I, but I didn't do it in a hotel every Tuesday." He went quiet. "You have evidence?" he asked finally. "Enough to make your HR department very interested," I said. Another long pause. "That won't be necessary," he muttered. "Good," I said, "then stop calling." I hung up and blocked them both. Peace filled the silence like oxygen. I wasn't angry anymore. I was free. That night, I slept for 10 hours straight. The first real sleep I'd had since the lies began. 2 days later, she showed up with her parents. Her father's jaw was tight, her mother's eyes red from crying. I opened the door, but didn't invite them in. "You can take what's clearly yours," I said calmly. "Nothing we bought together, until we settle it properly." Her father stepped forward. "You can't just kick her out like this." "I can," I replied. "I'm the primary tenant. She has 30 days, it's all legal." Her mother tried to soften the moment. "You two loved each other once. Isn't that worth saving?" I shook my head. "She cheated, lied, and then tried to make it sound like growth. That's not love." Lauren's eyes filled again. "Please, Ryan, I'll do anything. Just talk to me." "You can start by packing," I said. For 30 minutes, they moved through the apartment quietly. I stood by the doorway, documenting what she took. No yelling, no tears from me. Just procedure. When they left, her mother turned back. "You're making a mistake," she whispered. Maybe, I said. But at least it's mine to make. The door closed. Silence settled again. I walked through each room slowly, noticing how peaceful emptiness could feel. My phone lit up constantly that evening. Friends, mutual contacts, even people I barely knew. Some called me cruel. Others called me a genius. I didn't reply to any of them. I didn't owe explanations. The truth spoke for itself. Later that night, a message popped up from Samantha. How are you holding up? She wrote. Still standing, I replied. She offered coffee the next morning. No pity, no expectations, just company. We met at a quiet cafe by the river. The air was cold, the conversation warm. We talked for hours, but never once mentioned Lauren. Instead, we talked about music, travel, stupid things that made us laugh. It felt normal. I hadn't felt normal in months. She was funny, sharp, grounded. Not a replacement. Just someone real. When we said goodbye, she smiled and said, You did what you had to do. I know, I said, and I don't regret it. Walking home, I realized I didn't feel bitterness anymore. Only relief. The plan had worked. Not because it humiliated her, but because it freed me. Lauren made her choices, and I made mine. Now we were both living with the results. I changed the locks, finalized the paperwork, and cleaned the last of her things out. The apartment finally smelled like coffee and peace, instead of perfume and lies. For the first time, I could breathe. Samantha texted again that night. Dinner sometime. I smiled. Yeah, as friends, I wrote. And it felt right. No rush, no tension, just a quiet beginning. Sometimes endings aren't about destruction. They're about clarity. The kind that only comes when you stop reacting and start deciding who you want to be. I checked the calendar. 28 days left until her lease expired. A countdown not to loss, but to freedom. It's been a month since that dinner. The chaos has faded into quiet routine. Lauren moved out last week without saying goodbye. She left a note on the counter that simply said, I'm sorry. I didn't respond. Some words come too late to matter. The apartment feels different now. Lighter. Cleaner. Every trace of her is gone, except the faint memory of perfume in the closet. I don't hate her anymore. I don't love her either. I just understand her choices, and mine. She wanted excitement. I wanted honesty. Neither of us got what we wanted. But I walked away with peace. Samantha and I still talk. Nothing serious, just two people who understand quiet company. Sometimes she laughs at how calculated the breakup was. Sometimes I do too. Because the truth is, it wasn't revenge. It was survival. A man choosing logic over chaos. Dignity over drama. And for the first time in years, I'm not looking back. Only forward. Because some endings aren't tragic. They're just clean. And that's enough.